Jim Irsay has weighed in again on his rookie quarterback, Anthony Richardson, the number 4 overall pick. He told Pat McAfee, for Anthony Richardson, it's going to be tough. We know that. But he has to play better. He has to play to get better. I mean, there's no question. Gardner Minshew could come out and obviously play better early, just being a veteran. But we have to get Anthony on the field. That's Shane's call when he decides to do it. Shane Steichen is the new head coach in Indianapolis. Peyton Manning, once upon a time, was the number 1 overall pick, 1998. He said Peyton was, quote, really prepared as much as he could be for the league. And that's why he started from day 1, even though the Colts went 3-13. Okay. I know they've got a relationship. Pat played for the Colts, so Jim and Pat, I'm sure, have had conversations privately. They bring it publicly. That's cool to listen into. At the same time, Jim Irsay really needs to be very careful about this because he has now put his quarterback and his head coach in a bad position. Without a doubt, Anthony Richardson was the high-level quarterback prospect who had the most to learn. There was no doubt in anybody's mind he was the most raw. That what you saw at the Combine excited you, what you saw at his pro day excited you. However, there was no doubt he needed far more polish than C.J. Stroud, than Bryce Young, than even Will Levis, that Richardson needed polish, and that if you were impatient and you needed him to play, you should not draft him. That was always the conventional wisdom. And forget just repeating what you hear or what you read. I think that's just a practical, pragmatic, logical way to go about using Anthony Richardson. He's big, he's strong, he's fast. But for every great throw that he had last year, he had 10 bad throws. If you watch Richardson last season, it was just a demolition derby. You would see a game where you said, man, that guy's got a lot of talent. And then you would see 3 games and say, I don't know where that talent is. He would come and go, ebb and flow, rise and fall, and his lows were just as low as his highs were high. So the idea that you would then take a guy that had certainly not mastered college football and just throw him into the NFL and assume he'll work out the kinks there, I think is lunacy. You've got to have somebody take over in the NFL that has one of 2 things: a mastery of the college level, and with that experience, that knowledge, that confidence, can attack the NFL job, witness Peyton Manning, mastery of college, and then the mentality of, okay, I know everything I can know there, and now I'm going to approach this the same way. Or a guy that needs time in the NFL to figure it out before the bullets are really flying. And that's where I think Anthony Richardson is. You don't take a guy that doesn't know what's going on in college and throw him into the NFL and go, okay, now figure this out. You have Anthony Richardson behind the scenes in practice, work and work and work and work. And you give him as much playing time as you need in the preseason because nobody really cares. They care a little bit, but not a lot. If he stinks in the preseason, throws 2 touchdowns against 13 interceptions over the course of 3 or 4 games, so what? Now, people are going to be like, wow, that's really bad preseason, but mostly people forget about that. If he comes out in September and throws 2 touchdowns against 13 interceptions, A, nobody will let him live it down. B, he might not overcome it. He personally might not overcome it. So you've put Richardson in a terrible spot right now because you're going to put him out there or want him to be out there and expect, it's going to be hard, but he'll just ride it out. When maybe he's not built that way to just ride out the low lows. Number two, why tell your coach what to do? Why tell people publicly what your coach needs to do? Okay, you've given Shane Steichen a bit of an out of he'll decide when it's ready. But you've now said multiple times, we want Anthony Richardson to play. Get out of the way. You're the owner, not the coach. It's why you hire a general manager who hires the head coach. And so many of these owners get that backwards. Jerry Jones gets this backwards. As an owner, you don't have football say because you don't have football expertise. You hire the best person that has that. And the flow chart is the owner hires the general manager or the president who hires the general manager who hires the head coach. And of course, you want to all be on the same page, but you do not insert yourself where you don't know what's going on. Jim Irsay might think that he knows football because he's been around football. His dad owned the Baltimore Colts. But that's not your call. You don't know what you're watching on film. You don't. You don't know the footwork. You don't know what he's seeing in the film room. You don't know. You just don't. And the worst owners don't know what they don't know. Dan Snyder, Jerry Jones, Jim Irsay, guys that think they know football and they insert themselves into football decisions. Get out of the way. If I was promoted to CEO of CBS Sports Radio, you know what I wouldn't do? Take over sales. You know what I wouldn't do? Run the engineering room. You know what I wouldn't do? Get on a ladder and fix a satellite. What I would do is hire the best engineer guy or gal to oversee the engineering department. I would hire the best salesperson, general manager, what have you, to hire the best sales team. I would hire the best technicians to get up on that satellite. I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't tell them what to do. No, you don't want the satellites to be tilted more towards the northeast side. I think that'll get us better reception in Tuscaloosa. No, you got to go door to door, sell steak knives. You guys aren't doing it right. So Jim Irsay likes to do with his football team.